I know what you're thinking. Another Wemby video from NBA YouTube. And let's face it, over the past calendar year, everyone on basketball YouTube and NBA YouTube have been making videos on Victor Wembanyama because it's been such an easy way to get views. He was the most hyped prospect since LeBron James, and I've held off on making a Wemby video because I felt like everybody was, and I didn't just want to do it to get views. Plus, I felt like there were other NBA storylines I could tell a better story of. But after this performance on Friday night versus the Los Angeles Lakers, and his overall play over the past month or so for that matter, I can no longer ignore what Victor Wembanyama is doing and not make a video about it. Like I said, he was the most hyped prospect since LeBron James, yet somehow, some way, he is completely exceeding all expectations. I don't think any of us expected him to be this good, this fast, and on Friday night versus the Lakers, he became just the 15th player in NBA history to put up a 5x5. What's a 5x5, you may ask? 5+ points, 5+ rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. The last time it was done in the NBA was by Nurkic in 2019. Victor put up 27 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, so almost a triple-double alongside this 5x5, and of course 5 steals and 5 blocks while playing just 31 minutes in this game. That is absolutely absurd. He's also the second player ever to put up 25+ points and 10+ boards alongside Akeem Olajuwon in his 5x5 performance. And to make things even crazier, this came one night after he narrowly had a 5x5 again versus the Sacramento Kings, falling just 1 assist short, which made Wemby the first player ever since blocks began being recorded to average a 5x5 across 2 games. And let's not forget that he had 10 blocks versus the Raptors just before the All-Star break. I can't even state all of the records he's breaking this season, so I'm just going to throw up this tweet that you can stop and read. The man turned 20 years old 7 weeks ago. But I think my favorite part about these last couple performances from Wemby is what he had to say after the fact. To me, it's secondary. Hopefully in the future and think this is a good performance, but as of today, I can't be satisfied with the loss. And of course, LeBron had this to say about him. He doesn't have a ceiling. He can do whatever he wants to do with his career. As far as havoc defensively, there are guys in our league that you have to account for anytime you get around the rim or around the perimeter in our league history, and he sits right at the top of it, if not around the top with all the greats. And although the Spurs have been god-awful this season, going 11-46, Victor is running away with the Rookie of the Year award. Across the season, he's averaging 20.6 points per game, 10.1 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 3.3 blocks, and 1.3 steals in just 28 minutes per game. Let's compare these stat lines to the last 20 Rookie of the Year award winners. Blake Griffin compares when it comes to points and rebounds, but he also played in 38 minutes per game. The closest actual comparable stat lines, besides the guys from the 60s and 70s like Wilt and Kareem, are Tim Duncan in 97 and David Robinson in 1989. Oddly enough, both of them were #1 overall picks for the Spurs, but they would average 39 minutes per game and 36 minutes per game respectively in their rookie seasons. If we take Victor's per 36 adjusted stats, here's what we get for a stat line. 26 points per game, 12.8 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.6 steals, 4.1 blocks per game, and he's still shooting threes at 32% on 6 attempts per game. Again, I have no words. Across his last 15 games, Victor's averaging 22 points per game on 37% from 3 with 5 attempts, 84% from the free throw line, 10 boards, 4 assists, 3.4 blocks, 1.8 steals, which is good for 9th in the entire NBA in that span. Outside of blocks, which even then don't tell the full story, these stats don't really show you how incredible Victor has been defensively. He's currently rated 7th in defensive estimated plus minus per dunksandthrees.com. He's leading the NBA in blocks per game and stocks per game, but it isn't just his rim protection. He also has an innate ability to not foul. He's leading the league in a block to foul ratio by a wide margin at 1.523 blocks per foul. He also has the best defensive rating on the Spurs by over 1.8 points per 100 possessions. He has all the potential in the world to be the best defender and the best offensive player in the entire league when he hits his prime. But on the offensive end, I think the thing that's impressed me the most about Wemby is his passing. I mean, just look at some of these assists, the floor vision, the craftiness, the ability to fit these passes in and get creative is something you just don't see from guys 7 foot plus. His shooting is another thing that obviously sets him apart on the offensive end. He's one of only 7 players to record over 3 blocks per game as a rookie, but none of those 6 guys, including Shaq, Alonzo, and David Robinson, shot any threes. His three-point percentage isn't fantastic right now, but it's not awful either at 31.8%. But I don't think that's anything to worry about. Rookies rarely shoot it well from deep. If he can improve that number to 36, 37, 38%, it is probably game over. Because at that point, there's nothing you can do to stop him offensively. Also, just watch this montage of his steals. Some of these steals, he is literally picking off bounce passes off the ground. It's simply not fair. This dude has an 8-foot wingspan, and it's legitimately terrifying to throw a pass with him in the vicinity. I don't know how San Antonio continues to do it with these #1 overall picks, but Victor clearly, in my opinion, has the best opportunity out of anyone in today's game to truly challenge Michael Jordan, or LeBron for that matter, for the title of greatest of all time. I know I'll get some comments here saying I'm jumping the gun. I'm not saying he's going to be the GOAT, but I think it's pretty safe to say that when you have the most hyped prospect since LeBron James coming into his rookie season and dominating like he is. Not to mention, he's a one of one. There's nobody like him. He's 7'4", plays like a 6'5" guard. A lot of people will try to say that Chet deserves a shot at Rookie of the Year because the Thunder are winning. And I love Chet. I think Chet will be a fantastic player, an all-star, first-team All-NBA potential. But please, Thunder fans, give it a rest. Victor has an awful team around him, a young team, and Chet has the potential MVP of this season and a rising star in Jalen Williams he's playing alongside that I may have to do an individual video on because Jalen Williams is freaking awesome at basketball. There's legitimately just 2 question marks in my opinion for the future of Victor's career. Number 1, the Spurs' ability to put a competitive team around him in the intermediate future. Maybe not next year, but 2025 or 2026, they better be vouching for a play-in spot. The Spurs do have a decent amount of draft capital over the next couple seasons. Some of those have protections on them and could get pushed further out, but they are sitting nicely when it comes to the salary cap as well. They have about $20 million this summer to spend and expiring contracts in 2025 like Devontae Graham. But I would love to see San Antonio be as aggressive as possible. I'm not saying you have to make a Rudy Gobert type trade or a Donovan Mitchell type trade when it comes to assets, but by 2025, let's get him some veteran, really good players to surround himself with, a competitive team at a young age. You do have Devin Vassell, who I think could be a nice third option on this team, but San Antonio needs to make some moves. I don't think developing strictly with the draft is realistic. And then the second question mark for Wemby is his health. Now, to my knowledge, he doesn't have much of an injury history, which is awesome for a guy at that size. However, we do always worry with guys who are lankier and super tall about lower leg injuries. To me, I think that is the only way that he does not become a Hall of Famer, which I know is crazy to say. But either way, I think it is safe to say that somehow, some way, the greatest prospect since LeBron James is exceeding our expectations this season. Enjoy it. The Spurs may not be fun to watch as a team, but Wemby is incredible to watch. I would encourage you every time you get to check him out, watch him play. He's putting together crazy stat lines on almost a nightly basis at this point. I've seen some talking heads saying Victor is already a top 15 NBA player. While I don't know if I'd personally die on that hill or argue that way, I also wouldn't argue against it either. It's close, very close, and if I were a betting man, I'd wager he ends up on the 2nd or 3rd team All-NBA as early as next season. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out the video I just made on the impending potential redemption of Karl Anthony Towns here. And as always, we'll see you on the hardwood.